Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 episode number 94 based on novel. So let's start. Luo Feng looked at the appearance of the hermit in front of him. His body was much more muscular than the teacher in his memory. After all, in the original universe area, the hermit was a true god, and he broke through to the void true god when he was about to break through the reincarnation channel. Now he is a chaos realm who cultivates the Hun Yuan bloodline. You fought with the king of Food Kingdom so soon, which was much faster than I expected. Swashanka looked at his disciple with a smile. Luo Feng was certain when he heard this, teacher. It is impossible to determine the identity of a teacher based on life breath or cause and effect. There are only a handful of people in the origin continent who know that he is Luo Feng's friend. Yuan, Morosa, and Dichu are all people he trusts extremely. As long as they can call out his name, Luo Feng trusts them almost completely. The grudge between the Mountain Man and the Lord of the Food Kingdom was only told to me by my teacher when I was reincarnated. Only I and my teacher knew about it, there was no third party involved. It's unfair for me to pin my hopes of revenge on you. The mountain guest looked at Luo Feng and said with emotion, because to completely kill a second-level divine king is something that even the emperors and monarchs may not be able to do. But I don't see any other possibilities. I only see possibilities in you. The hermit said, I also know that you don't care about this little bit of pressure at all. Luo Feng smiled. This little bit of pressure is really nothing. The teacher did not force himself to die, but only took action when he was sure. You have been in the origin continent for less than 200 centuries, and you have reached such a realm, far surpassing me. Swashanka had complicated feelings. He had transformed the earth and cultivated a powerful race. He watched Luo Feng grow from a weak boy to a powerful one. As a god king, he has always been aloof, caring for weak disciples and guiding them to grow. In a blink of an eye, the disciple had completely surpassed him. If I want to kill the three rulers of the Food Kingdom, my strength is far from enough. Luo Feng said, this time I am just establishing a cause and effect with the ruler of the Qiankun Kingdom. It can be regarded as an introduction. No hurry. The hermit said, even if you are stronger and can destroy the real body of the Qiankun Lord, he can still cultivate back. He will even become more vigilant. If you scare him into reincarnation, that would be bad. I have a plan on how to completely kill the three rulers of the Food Kingdom. Luo Feng said. Oh? Swashanka's eyes lit up. Are you sure about your plan? Yes. Luo Feng nodded. There are many ways, but they all require enough time to practice. Multiple ways? From Swashanka's own experience, it is too difficult to completely kill the three kings of Shugua, especially the king of Qiankun. But his own disciples have many ways. Swashanka was just excited and sighed. Your knowledge has far surpassed mine now. But remember, your own safety comes first. Swashanka looked at Luo Feng. I was just a first-level god king at the beginning, and I couldn't get involved in the top-level disputes in the origin continent. But I have seen a lot. I know how cruel and crazy the top-level disputes are. The strongest group of beings in the origin continent, the idol god kings and the two ancient countries fought fiercely. There were many confrontations at the emperor level. The hermit said, the idol god kings have more people and more talented people, while the emperors and monarchs of the two ancient countries are too terrifying. There were all kinds of killings and fights, and the idol god kings even reincarnated to hide their identities, and then attacked again. The hermit looked at Luo Feng. As a god king of the first level, I am a bystander, but I can see it clearly. All fights are caused by resources. If you are not in urgent need of resources, don't get involved. The hermit reminded, practice well and make yourself strong. When you are strong, even the two ancient countries will have to respect you. The water in the origin continent is deep. I can't see clearly, but I know that the emperors and monarchs have made many moves and caused the sky to collapse and the earth to crack. Compared with that level, your confrontation with the Lord of Qiankun, that is a qualitative difference. The hermit said. Luo Feng certainly understood. The second level of God King and the ultimate level of God King are qualitative changes. Master D Chu can annihilate his body with one move, and he can recover with his own vitality, while Master needs to spend one or two more moves. As for the Lord of Tianquan, whose vitality is inferior to his, although his burst of power is more terrifying, D Chu may be able to solve it with one move. It can be seen from this that there is a huge gap between a normal second level of God King and an ultimate life form. Teacher, don't worry. I just became a God King and I am not in a hurry to participate in the fight. Luo Feng said. Swashanka smiled. Okay, I should go now. You can contact me anytime if you have anything in the future. After meeting him once and confirming his identity, we can communicate with him through causal transmission in the future. Okay. Luo Feng nodded. With his understanding of all the Chaos Realm transcendence on the Origin continent, he naturally knew that his teacher's reincarnation was the Chaos Realm transcendent Zhuoshan Jin from the Thunder Ancient Country. Huh. The hermit took a step and left quietly. In the night sky. The hermit looked back in the direction of Xiangjia City. All my loved ones are gone in this world. Although Zhuoshanka returned to the familiar Origin continent, he had no relatives, and no sect. He has always had an extremely strong sense of loneliness. He seemed to be a lonely ghost living in the ancient country of thunder, and the purpose of living was revenge. But tonight, he felt relieved and no longer lonely. I still have a disciple in this Origin continent. Zhuoshanka said silently. He watched his disciple grow up from weak to strong. Now that he came to the Origin continent, his disciple is still working hard for his revenge. In the prosperous Huyang city, a figure quietly entered the city lord's mansion. It was a child, who smiled and observed Luo Feng. Luo Feng, who was sitting in the pavilion, looked at the newcomer in surprise. When the teacher Zhuoshanka went to Xiangjia city, he did not encounter any obstacles because of the cause and effect transmission. But this child ignored the formation and all the obstacles of Luo Feng, and appeared in front of him silently. In terms of realm, he was obviously much higher than Luo Feng. Luo He. The child smiled. I am the boat master of the space-time lonely boat. Luo Feng looked at him. The three major forces in the Origin continent, Liangjia Palace, Wanfa Building, and space-time lonely boat were all established by alien strongmen. Because the alien strongmen crossed the distant space to the Origin continent, their power was suppressed at the level of Chaos Realm, and even if their moves were mysterious, they were only at the first level of the Divine King Realm. The real strongmen of these three forces are still some extremely powerful ancient beings native to the Origin continent. The most famous person in the lonely ship of time and space is the owner of the ship. The owner of the ship has cultivated the origin of time to an incredible level, and can be called the most profound person in the Origin continent's origin of time. His real identity has been exposed long ago. After all, it is easy to guess that he has achieved such a high level in the road of time. He is the God King of Xinlin. In his previous life, he was a disciple of the Lord of 10,000 Realms. Later, he fell out with the Lord of 10,000 Realms and reincarnated to hide his identity. Now he is so powerful that the Lord of 10,000 Realms can't do anything to him. The owner of the ship. Luo Feng smiled. I think I have great talent, but compared to you, Brother Luo He, I am still far inferior. The child said with a smile, I came here to invite Brother Luo He to join the space-time lonely boat. I can give you resources worth 100 million merits, Brother Luo He, you can choose any of them. Resources worth 100 million merits? Thank you, but I don't plan to join any other forces. Luo Feng said. Even if I join one force, I can join other forces. The child said with a smile. Luo Feng shook his head slightly. Is it because the space-time boat was built by alien warriors? The child looked at Luo Feng. The power that the aliens can exert in our Origin continent is very limited. They can't threaten the Origin continent at all. And their true bodies are all beings that surpass the ultimate realm of the God King. Why can't we cooperate with them? Even the ancestors of the two ancient countries are not usually in the Origin continent. Don't they cooperate with alien warriors in the outside world? The child said, as long as you have enough strength, you can also take the initiative by cooperating with aliens. For example, when an alien invited me to join the space-time boat, my condition was I became the master of the space-time boat, and he could only assist me. The child looked at Luo Feng. You have great talent, but it also requires time and resources. You must become an ultimate life form before the destruction of this source world, otherwise you will perish along with the destruction of the source world. Time is precious. What the space-time lonely boat is willing to give you must be far more than the two ancient countries. No hurry. Luo Feng shook his head. Not in a hurry? The child looked at Luo Feng. I will also tell you a secret. This source world has lasted for a long time, and the remaining time is probably only billions of epochs. Thank you, Master Boat. Luo Feng replied. Billions of epochs? So long? I have only been in the origin continent for over 100 centuries. A reincarnation era in the original universe, whether long or short, is equivalent to about 10,000 centuries in the origin continent. Billions of centuries, for Luo Feng, it is really too long. There is plenty of time for cultivation. It is extremely difficult for the second level of the God King to become the ultimate level. Time is still very tight. The child looked at Luo Feng's eyes and stopped persuading him. My invitation from the space-time lonely boat is still valid. Thank you for the invitation, Master of the Boat. Luo Feng said. We will meet often in the future. The child smiled slightly and disappeared out of thin air. Luo Feng was secretly shocked. Walking in different timelines, just disappeared like that? The practitioners of the origin of time are indeed terrifying. Compared with them, I am still too immature. This boat owner is well informed. The remaining time of this Fang Yuan world is billions of epochs. I must become an ultimate life form before then? Luo Feng understood. When Luo Feng was in the Chaos Realm, few major forces invited Luo Feng. After all, in their view, even if Luo Feng became a God King, he was only invincible in the first level of the God King realm and reached the threshold of the Overlord. At that time, only the Two Realms Palace and the Samsara Building invited him, and Luo Feng naturally chose the Samsara Building. The battle between Luo Feng and the Lord of Qiankun not only proved Luo Feng's terrifying strength, but also proved Luo Feng's talent and potential. His strength in the first level of God King actually surpassed the history of the origin continent. This talent amazed all parties. Even all parties speculated. Will this Luo he be able to cross the level and compete with the Emperor and Monarch in the future? So there are naturally many forces that invite Luo Feng, and Luo Feng has also broadened his horizons. He has seen the various forces hidden in the dark on the origin continent and learned all kinds of information. Refuse them all for the time being. In the quiet room of the Lord's mansion of Huyang City, in the Star Tower, Luo Feng knew that the origin continent was turbulent, and the various forces were fighting openly and secretly in the treasure lands, but he did not intend to get involved now. He only wanted to consolidate his own strength. He knew very well that he still had a lot of room for improvement in the first level of God King. But Luo Feng sat cross-legged in the Star Tower to practice. The unprecedentedly strong soul foundation made Luo Feng's thinking speed much faster, more than 10 times faster than when he was in the Chaos Realm. If you want to completely kill the Lord of Qiankun State, there are indeed many ways. Luo Feng's knowledge now exceeds that of his teachers Washamka. Some of them are secrets told by Dichu, and some are learned from comprehending the 4 special inheritances. Although it is only the special inheritance of the first level of the Divine King, it does provide vague guidance for the later stages of the journey. For me, there are 3 most likely ways to kill the Lord of Qiankun. The first is that the will of the mind reaches the level of surpassing the God King. With the help of the element technique, it can almost sweep away the will of the God King level. Luo Feng thought, but this path is extremely difficult. From the first level of the God King's will to the ultimate level of the God King's will, it is still considered the entire God King level, and it is slowly improving, and it is not a qualitative change. A big level leap? That is a qualitative change. When Luo Feng was still a true god in the primitive universe, he was already at the peak of the Chaos Realm. After coming to the origin continent, his mind and will only have one major level leap, from the will of the Chaos Realm to the will of the God King. According to the information given by the Master, in the entire origin continent at this time, there are only 3 people whose mind and will surpass the God King level. Emperor Qing, the Lord of 10,000 realms, and Emperor Ming. The ancestors of the 2 ancient countries and the ancestors of the Eastern Extreme Domain were all strong men in the previous era. In this era, there are only these 3. Emperor Qing and the Lord of 10,000 realms both realized a complete origin avenue before their mind and will broke through to the level of surpassing the God King. Emperor Ming used the Chaos Source bloodline to train into an ultimate life form, and he has not yet realized the avenue. The improvement of the Tao is an all-round improvement. Being able to see through the essence of everything between heaven and earth, the mind and will are naturally extremely powerful. According to Master, the defensive weapons of Divine King and above are generally effective in blocking attacks of will. Ultimate life forms are perfect and have a small blocking effect. When facing the Emperor Moth, at best, the strength will be greatly damaged, and at worst, they will lose control. The weapons of secret treasures that can block attacks of will are even more precious, and Master doesn't have them. Luo Feng sighed secretly. When he carefully studied the Star Tower, he found that the Star Tower had the ability to hinder will attacks. This road is difficult, but once it succeeds, there will be few people on the origin continent who can be my opponent. The second method is to master the complete origin of life. At that time, the control of life will reach an incredible level, but in an instant, cut off the vitality of all resurrection carriers of the Lord of Qianquan, so that he will not have time to reincarnate. Every avenue will have many defects in the early stage, but once the complete avenue is mastered, there will be no obvious defects. For example, the origin of life avenue is weak in killing in the early stage. But the complete origin of life avenue is simply the incarnation of the concept of life in the source world, and even directly deprives the opponent of life. The same is true for other roads. When you reach the ultimate and become perfect, it is naturally incredible. The third method is to destroy the special inheritance of the origin of the Great Tao and reach the peak of the second level of the God King. Then you will have the chance to fight against the Emperor and the Monarch and kill all the countless clones and resurrection carriers of the enemy with one thought. Morosa can now perform a curse. If you reach the second level of the God King and practice the special inheritance killing moves, Luo Feng thinks it is enough to deal with the Lord of Qianquan. 3 roads, take your time. Luo Feng sensed his own spiritual will. When he was in the Chaos Realm, he was already the will of the ultimate realm of the God King. After that, the improvement of practice became slower and slower. He realized the life form of the world and nourished his mind and will. After becoming a God King, his soul grew stronger, which was also beneficial to his mind and will. After all 6 branches of life were realized, Luo Feng had a deeper understanding of life, and his mind and will seemed to be full of endless vitality and resilience. My mind and will have reached the bottleneck of the ultimate realm of God King, and it can't be improved at all. Luo Feng felt that even if he practiced the mind-refining method of the art of erase, he couldn't improve it at all. It was completely capped. It was like a natural chasm that blocked him. The art of erase records many mind-refining methods. I mainly use the Great Destruction mind-refining method. The effect of this mind-refining method depends on my realm of the Great Tao of Destruction origin. Now, I focus on practicing the Great Tao of Destruction. A secret method emerged in Luo Feng's mind. This is a secret method recorded in the special inheritance, Mixed Cave Beast Body. It was originally a combat secret method for the Mixed Cave Beast Body. But Luo Feng has a stronger, world life form, so he doesn't need to comprehend the Mixed Cave Beast Body. This combat secret method is called Mixed Cave 6 Strike. Each strike is a combination of the 6 branches of the Road of Destruction. With the super strong body, it is extremely powerful. Each of these 6 mixed cave strikes is a combination of the 6 branches. The difficulty is comparable to the comprehension of the 10 directions world form. As long as I can comprehend one of them, I will have a killer move. Luo Feng is looking forward to it. The power of any of these 6 mixed cave strikes is higher than the first 3 strikes of 72 Swords of Destruction. Then he can perform such a trick with the life form of the world. Luo Feng has no shortcomings. Time passed, and 3 epochs passed in a blink of an eye. Fengjong City. Zhong Yunch restrained her breath, hid her appearance, and returned to her ancestral land. Fengjong City. Zhong Yunch looked at this familiar city where she grew up, but she was a little timid. She quietly came to her own residence and just sent a message to her father. Soon the door of the cave opened. "Why are you back?" Zhong's father stood at the door of the cave, with anger in his eyes. "Didn't I tell you not to come back a long time ago? This is my ancestral land, I want to come back and take a look." Zhong Yunch looked at his father and said, "Do you think our lineage is not embarrassed enough?" Zhong's father was furious. "You are with Mo Yu Qingyang, and you are a disciple of the god King Polu. The family attaches great importance to our lineage, giving resources, status, and power. The lives of many ethnic groups in our lineage are much better. But what about you? What did you do?" Zhong's father was angry. "You broke up with Mo Yu Qingyang, offended the god King Luohe, and were driven down the mountain by the god King Polu. What a great opportunity, you messed it up." The ancestors of the family were furious and completely took back many of the powers of our lineage. "It's even worse than when you were not with Mo Yu Qingyang. Our lineage can't get involved in important family affairs at all. This lineage is completely in decline, even more so than before you and Mo Yu Qingyang were together. It's all because of you." Father Zhong stared at her. "As your father, do you think I have an easy life? I can tell you that I have applied to the family and will soon move out of the ancestral land." "Move out? Wouldn't that mean we are completely marginalized?" Zhong Yunch couldn't help but ask. "Aren't we marginalized now? And we are still suffering from this evil." Father Zhong was angry. "You should leave quickly. If you are discovered by the people of our lineage, some of your family elders might take action. In their lineage, there are also more than 10 eternal true gods, as well as a large number of void true gods and true gods. It was considered a normal lineage in the family before, but now it has been marginalized because of the anger of the family ancestor. I'll leave now." Zhong Yunch said nothing more. Father Zhong looked at his daughter's departing figure and shook his head gently. Perhaps she grew up in the royal family and her father was also the eternal true god of the royal family, so her life was too good. Zhong Yunch was expelled from the mountain and could never return to the mountain without the order of the god King Polu. But at least she still had the title of God King's direct disciple, so no local force would bully her in any city of the Yangfeng ancient country. She wandered around, and in a blink of an eye, several centuries passed. After a lot of twists and turns, she came to Xiangjie City again. The pride in her bones made her endure until now to come here. She sat on a pavilion, looking at the streets in the distance, waiting silently. Finally, she waited. Mo Yu Qingyang rode a Chaos Realm alien beast, followed by a group of guards, flying from high in the sky. Since Yuan reached the Chaos Realm, the management of Xiangjie City has been completely handed over to Mo Yu Qingyang. Not only that, the Mo Yu family also has a great influence in the 20 Chaos states around Huyang City. "Qingyang." Zhong Yunch suddenly stood up and spoke quickly. Mo Yu Qingyang turned around and saw Zhong Yunch. After all, she was his former wife. He immediately rode the strange beast to the vicinity of the restaurant and then went upstairs alone. Inside the pavilion. "Why did you come to Xiangjie City?" Mo Yu Qingyang looked at her. Zhong Yunch said, "Qingyang, I know I have made too many mistakes, No need to say more." Mo Yu Qingyang shook his head, but didn't want to listen. "I came here this time just to ask you. Can we go back to the past? If you refuse, I will leave immediately and never appear in front of you again." Zhong Yunch looked at Mo Yu Qingyang. Mo Yu Qingyang looked at Zhong Yunch deeply, then "Let's stop here." After saying that, Mo Yu Qingyang turned around and left. Zhong Yunch stood there in a daze. Her inner pride made her not speak again. She just watched Mo Yu Qingyang leave. She knew that everything was over. Mo Yu Qingyang sat on the back of the Chaos Realm beast and returned with his personal guards. He seemed expressionless, but in fact he was very uncomfortable. He cared a lot about that relationship, and it was his only love. But he knew it very well in his heart. When she went to Mount Polu, she didn't even want an incarnation of divine power to stay with me at home. I knew, compared to her future, I was nothing. Mo Yukinyan went to Mount Polu to ask her to come back, but it was useless. At that moment, he decided to let go. Never see you again. Mo Yukinyan now only wanted to concentrate on practicing under the guidance of the two masters. Time was like flowing water. In the blink of an eye, 12 epochs had passed since Luo Feng became a god king. One of the layers of space in the Star Tower. Luo Feng in silver clothes stood there and tapped his finger lightly. Boom! Where his finger touched, a little light appeared, extremely dazzling and brilliant. This little light burst out with incredible power, instantly destroying all directions and sweeping away destruction. The power swept through the entire first floor of the Star Tower, and the entire floor was rumbling. Finally figured it out. Luo Feng smiled. After becoming a god king, the soul's thinking speed was more than 10 times that of the past. It took 12 epochs for Luo Feng to figure out one of the 6 strike of mixed holes. Luo Feng's mind naturally emerged with the complete branches of the splitting heaven lineage, and then naturally touched upon the dark heaven lineage and the mixed heaven lineage, and he realized them one by one. This video will end here.